G'day everyone, welcome to today's YouTube video. My name is James, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. Just a very quick one today. We have the March 2023 Collage Club printable set that I want to go through with you, just explain what things are, where they're from, and hopefully you'll be a bit more familiar with all of the images from the set. We have 5 sheets this month, and also I did what I did last month and gave you like a sheet of the Patreon stuff that we did, but just like a mini version of it. So this isn't everything because it didn't all fit, but this is like a whole kind of like look at what we did or what we saw in Patreon this month. And the things that I particularly love are some of these sketches that I did for a lesson, just like a little research sketches. Like I really love this little doll here. I love this fashion sketch over here. And then this one was from one of our art book playtimes. It's actually quite big. It's kind of like, wouldn't even fit on this screen, I don't think. But shrunk down, I made like a little panoramic spread for you. And I also love our little playtest pals. There's another Wednesday there. And then we did the stained glass version as well. And yeah, so these were from our Fashion Fridays lessons. This was mostly from our art book playtimes, and then the playtest pals lesson, which we finally finished, and this was my final little version of my playtest pal. Sorry, I don't know why there's cat, I mean I do know why there's cat hair on everything, but I don't know why I didn't get rid of it before I started pressing record on this video. Alright, that's number 1. This sheet hasn't been cut, by the way. You're not seeing any cut lines on here. I have not had the time to do that, and I thought, you know what, I better make the video first, because I can do all the cutting later at night, but it's harder to film the video at night because this glossy paper reflects the ring light. So I wanted to at least do this now, get it done in my schedule so I can deal with all the rest of that another day. That's page 1. Page 2, this is a whole bunch of like kind of original concept sketches of these playtest pals, like this one over here. You'll notice that they kind of have this similar like double pupil thing, the leaf eyebrows, this dome detailing. This is actually kind of where it all came from, and it was years ago at this point when I got my Lamy Safari. What is this called? Lamy Safari. Fountain pen, and I have this Pelican ink in it, which is water soluble, and I used to use a grey kind of like a watered down sumi ink in a water brush, and I just did a whole bunch of these illustrations. I did not mean to drop that like that. In another journal, I actually had to take photographs of these. These wouldn't scan into my scanner, so you'll kind of see like a bit of a different quality to these. Not that it's any better or worse, but you can kind of pick up on some of this paper texture a little bit more than I usually leave. I don't usually leave much of the paper texture in when I scan things, but with these photos you can still kind of see it a little bit. Anyway, so this is kind of like a page of monsters and all these little like ink, little swatchy things down here with these cactus bloom things. I don't really know where all this stuff came from actually. I think this is from my, yeah, this one is my white grid journal. Do you remember the white grid notebook, the MD paper 10th anniversary set that I got? I loved that thing. I think we did a giveaway with one of those as well. Anyway, so those are those like kind of monsters, the little inky monsters that were eventually what I turned into the playtest pals. And then these were little sketches I did getting ready for my virtual voyage number 2, the Tim Burton one, Burtonville. And so these are kind of Tim Burton inspired, these ones over here. And this was a little sketch I did in my Disneyland pocket notebook that I thought had the same vibe as like some of these creepier, like weirder monsters. She kind of looks like she looks like a little creepy, so I felt like she fit there. Anyway, that is that page. Those 2 I'd already selected, and then 3 pages this month were picked by my playtesters, my playtest Patreon 3 folk. All voted between, I think there were 16 pages to choose from, because I work a lot of my Collage Club stuff in advance. Some of these sheets are like half finished, and through the months I'll add like little bits and pieces here and there, because I've kind of themed the pages now. But yeah, these ones thankfully were already mostly finished. I just had to clean them all up because there were options on there that were like half finished that would have taken me a long time to get together. So I'm very thankful that poll went in my favor, but I felt like it would be a really great way to use to good effect the fact that I have a whole bunch of people right now playtesting all these decisions that I make. So this was the 3 pages, or these were the 3 pages that were selected by my playtest Patreon 3 folk. We have them to thank for that. We have the mermaids one first. This, I flipped this massive journal that I had, and I did manage to get this into the scanner. This had incredibly textured paper. So you do still see a lot of that in the scan. I left that in there, these beautiful pencil mermaids. And there's just a whole bunch of mermaids from random places, really, like sketchy ones. This one I think was a part of a piece I did for Art Snacks years ago. This was from an old planner. This was an old little stamp set sample. If you have the Cutie Pie stamp set, you might be able to see her underneath there. You can kind of see, instead of just putting her feet down there, I just added a tail on. I always loved this illustration. I thought it was so cute with the kind of narwhal, is that what they're called? Like the seal unicorn things, whatever those are. I always felt like that was a really cute depiction of that. Ursula the Sea Witch, that was from Virtual Voyage 1, our original one, years ago. And this was from my Render No Show Through sketchbook. This was a version I did for another Virtual Voyage when we looked at fairies and like the alphabet fairies illustration style. What's Cicely Mary Baker? Forgotten the name. It was done in that style. I did the Neverland Mermaids. I was going to add those to my collection, but in the end I opted out of those because, again, when you love something so much, you always tend to be overly critical of how they turn out. And even though I didn't hate it when I did it, I felt like it's just not right. It's not right. But it is still a cute illustration, so I popped it in there. I really like her. This is the fairies page that was voted on as well. Love this. What is that? Is that a piece of ink? Yeah. My printer, I think, needs a deep cleaning. Notice to everyone, go check your printers. Seriously, it's something I never remember to do, but it totally changes the print quality when you do a bit of a deep cleaning. And it's like a factory setting, like it'll just do it itself. Sometimes it runs a lot of ink though, so if you're someone that buys the name brand ink, you might want to be a little bit more reserved on your cleanings. I buy a generic ink. All ink, whether it's name brand or not, is going to fade over time, so there's really I don't believe there's any much purpose of buying like the Canon name branded ink. In fact, a lot of the time it is the exact same ink they're refilling it with. You're just paying for the branding. So printer ink is a really interesting industry. Go read up about printers and ink. You'll be shocked. So I actually buy mine from Amazon. If you're ever curious to know, my inks, and I can get like a whole pack that will last me like maybe half a year, and I print all the time for about 20 bucks. So it's really affordable. Anyway, these were Tag Tuesdays I did on chipboard tags. These are actually really thick, so I'm excited to have these here because now I can use them in my journals without trying to put the chipboard in. I've never known what to do with them because they're just big old chipboard tags, but now that I have my big Trader Joe's journals, I feel like they would go in there, so I might try and salvage those for that. This was a little Tinkerbell sketch that was never finished. Actually, it was for the body, so it was technically finished, but it's just a sketch. And then some more. This is a version of Tinkerbell that I did as if she was like a lily of the valley, like that little bloom. I like that little bell shape. So I did her just kind of on top of that. This was for Art Gelling the Magic. This is a really old sketch. I don't even know what that's that journal that I used to use just to sketch in. And I did that down at the Japanese cafe as well. I remember drawing that. Another stamp sample. This was another one of those flower fairies little illustrations. I just put it in there really tiny. I think we did that on a live stream maybe. She had a boy version to it, but I had scanned it. I remember everyone in that thing was like, scan it, because Steve always tells me to scan things before I color them in and ruin them. Because a lot of the time I'm just playing and I don't really care. But I actually did scan it, and I didn't like how I painted it, so I'm glad I had that little pencil sketch version. This is another stamp sample, but I always liked her. Remember when we did the Whimsy Ween a few years ago that was the Stepford Wives? I really loved that. I never even finished it or even really attempted it. It was just kind of a bunch of prompts that I'd put out because I was doing something else at that time too. I don't even know if I finished anything that year. But I always loved that Stepford Wives thing. I have a whole bunch of illustrations, none of them are finished, but this was one that I did really quickly and I liked her. This was from my old little passport-sized like pocket journal, which I've always really liked. I've just always loved the colors in this and her face just kind of popping out the background. And this, I believe, I did as an example or like a final piece from a workshop years ago, the Creative Jumpstart workshops. I believe that's what I did. And this was another stamp and illustration piece, a stamp sample, a stample, if you will. The last page that was voted on was this one, which I kind of just titled like whimsical things because it all kind of fit into a whimsical theme. We have more of this stamp stuff. Actually, there's a lot in here. This was a stamp, this was a stamp, this was a stamp. This is when I first got those ones. Remember the unbothered ones? I still really like her. That she is the same face as this one here too. This is actually stamped, and I just pulled some of the details out from the background. So those are all the same faces. You got many versions of her this month. And these were made of stamps as well. My little concept stamp set. I think it was when I released the new one, concept stamp set 2 or 3. And I made these little characters out of the little decora bit pieces, like the extra pieces of the stamp set. And I just loved these. They're 2 different ones. This one I like better than this one. That's why I made her a little bit bigger. But I like to have multiples because they're kind of like sisters or friends. And then this was from Merry Mix Media Playtime, like years ago. This is also stamped. This was something that I kind of taught in my concept stamping workshop, number 2, I believe, where we did this symmetrical kind of winged final piece in graphite. This was what I mean, I loved this. I've always loved this, and I've just loved it as it is. It kind of, to me, is like a page divider, or just like a beautiful key, like the top of an ornate key. I don't know why I see a key when I look at it, but it's what I see. I don't know, I've just always loved it. Super random. This one I felt like would be really cute to just kind of sit on lined paper or like gridded paper, because she kind of looks like she's peeking out if you cut it off right at the bottom there. And then I did put a bunch of stuff when I was flipping through that box of journals on Patreon this month. Well, you'll be seeing this in March, so last month in February. When I was flipping through that whole box of journals, I just found a whole bunch of old stuff that I've never scanned, I've never shared, and I felt like I wanted to share that. And it was also really fun to kind of go back and just look at all the different styles that I've worked in before, or the things that I used to really love and used to do all the time, or the proportions that I used to use. So I feel like I wanted to kind of put a lot of that kind of retro, vintage JLB creative in here. So she's definitely one of those. And this was the front cover of that journal that I was talking about, where I couldn't tell if it was painted or if it was that really high quality print that I got. So I know I included that for you because I thought that was really fun. I love this tag. I've always loved this little face and her little Hedy Lamarr crown, little Ziegfeld star crown. This was that Japanese concertinaed album. I don't know what that word is, but the accordion fold. You know, that really, really long one. This was hard to get into the scan. I had to do it like multiple parts and merge it all together, but I really liked the colors on that one. I really thought it was just interesting. And then her as well. I just loved the colors on that. And so there is a bunch of stuff here. I mean, we've got there's a bit of a running theme. We've got lots of tags, got lots of Stampin' Illustration stuff, and then we've also got lots of just kind of like finished pieces in these square kind of boxes, as well as your smattering of just illustrated pieces, you know, just pencil sketches, and then fully colored, fully rendered pieces as well. I try to give you a mixture of everything, but I wanted to pick these 2 mainly because I want to share with you all the stuff we're doing on Playtest Patreon, so that's how we end up with this kind of minis page, and then because this is where that Playtest Pals came from, and so I wanted to be able to share that as well, just to kind of have like, I don't know, it kind of is fun for me to see like where things started and like how they've evolved over time to become something like this, especially because a lot of what I learned as information to put into this, I didn't have at this time. This was a lot of like what I've learned through my virtual voyage Tokyo a Go-Go when I was looking at those Japanese, like how to draw cute, like that kind of creepy cute, the Yoshitomo Nara stuff, the Rune Naito stuff. Like I've learned a lot since I did these that I think was information I was trying to put into here that I just didn't know yet. So I don't know. I really like seeing the whole jump between, you know, years ago and now. And I really like having just a ton of stuff that isn't in my other journals that I can put in there, especially when it is like something so huge like this. I can't put that in my 5-year journal, and I also can't really draw it that small. I'm just not talented enough to do it that tiny. So I love to have all these smaller versions of things. Also for my planner, I put this all through my planner and just decorate everything with it. So I hope you find some really valuable use out of that this month. Thank you for joining me for another month on Collage Club. Please consider joining Playtest Patreon 3 because March is our final month. Everyone who's subscribed this month in March at the end of March when it is closed, because this is our final month, I'll put everything over on Teachable, and you'll be given an access code to be able to access that, so that it'll all be stored over there. So if you want access to the entire playtest Patreon experience, be subscribed in March and look out for that. We still have another month full of content that is going to be really fun, a continuation of a lot of our series, and then trying some new things. It will all be very fun over there as well. But if I just catch you around on YouTube, be here on Fridays for new videos. I love to catch up with you then, and enjoy Collage Club for another month. Just remember also, the end of every Collage Club month, which is like literally the last day of the month, I take away the oldest set of Collage Club printables. So I believe when you join in March, you'll have December, January, February, March. So November is going to go away on the very last day of February. So make sure you have those things downloaded. I do get people from time to time checking in to say that they accidentally forgot to download it. And even though I'm more than happy to help, I will just say sometimes those emails get lost and I don't respond to them for a while, or if ever, because sometimes they truly do just get lost in the junk mail. So just to make sure that there's no inconvenience, just download them. Even if you download them as soon as you get them, and you don't have to print all of them and use all of them, I never really recommend that. That's just mainly for me to show you all of them. But as long as you have access to them, just keep them in a safe place, and that way you'll never have to go and find them somewhere else. If you're someone that has only joined recently and you're looking at through the back catalog, because we've got years worth of back catalog content for this, anything that you see has a little E symbol on the catalog that you're looking at has moved to Etsy. So you can find older sets, older than 4 months, because we always have that 4-month revolving cycle. If you have sets that you were looking at in 2022 or 2021, go and have a look at Etsy, and you will find each individual month available for individual purchase. So it is always better to be subscribed to Collage Club, but for those older sets, they are still available. They're just available individually over on Etsy. And I do have to update that because I have some more current sets I have to put up there. But that's where you'll find everything. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I'll do my best to try and get back to them as soon as possible. Otherwise, I'll see you again for Collage Club next month, but on YouTube on Friday. Until then, goodbye. Is it Friday today? No. When's the start of the month? This is the middle of the week. I'll see you on Friday. Okay, bye. Oh, no, wait. I'm also doing Art Journaling the Magic, so if you're in that retreat, I'll probably see you there. All right, officially now, goodbye.